I'm gonna say something a little bit controversial. Fusions are pretty freaking cool. Wait, was that a hot take? Ever since the dawn of time, when a caveman fused a stick and a rock to bash the cranium of some guy he hated, the concept of a fusion was, is, and will always be cool. I mean, different series than what we were talking about, but in the Pokemon community, if you can get Gen 1 fans and Gen 7 fans to agree on the same thing, you've basically found the idea for world peace. There's nothing cooler than seeing two awesome things combined to create the ultimate awesome combination of things. A lot of my favorite fusions of fictional characters specifically are in the Yu-Gi-Oh series. Getting to see classic monsters fuse, even if they are the more bland ones, like Lady of Faith and Witch of the Black Forest, the thought of a fusion can still make you wonder and wait to see what new, cool, powerful— Who the hell is this guy? What the freaking guitar come from? Why is he this guy? Meet Musician King, a Yu-Gi-Oh monster that I would call a flagship example of a Milkman Fusion. A Milkman Fusion is defined as when a fusion of two or more characters makes you question if one of the characters involved with the fusion might have had some loose guitar earrings, if you know what I mean. And as a result, the whole fusion looks nothing like the sum of their parts. Like, not even close. This could be for lore reasons, cultural inspirations, or even just for a practical joke, but visually these fusions don't make sense considering what characters made up the fusion. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a lot of fusions that make sense, and a lot of fusions that don't. So I thought, what if these Yu-Gi-Oh! Fusions that don't make sense did, visually, without context? So I read you 3 of my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Fusions that don't make any sense. Also, I wouldn't count these as redesigns or fixes. One, because you don't just make
a new rock and rollin' entity better known as the Musician King
by accident. 2, I don't think Musician King has a bad design at all. Its design just took a different direction than what 99% of people would have taken this fusion. 3, for similar reasons, these redraws will look nothing like the original fusions. I will take inspiration from the pre-fusions, but no inspiration from the final result. It's more of like a what if than a redraw, you know? So with that note, let's start fusing. The first fusion is the already mentioned Musician King, a spellcaster monster created by polymerizing Witch of the Black Forest with Lady of Faith. And yes, we can talk about how 2 women fusing creates a monster who's male, but he's also blonde, shirtless, shares 0 traits with any of the monsters used, except being a spellcaster and sharing an attribute with Lady of Faith. Also, can we talk about the guitar? I'm not over the guitar yet. Where did he get that? Did one of the other monsters use it? Are they from the same century? I'm not saying Yu-Gi-Oh! Monsters can't have hobbies, but I didn't know Lady of Faith shredded metal like that. Oddly enough, the Witch of the Black Forest and Lady of Faith have pretty similar designs, which makes me question why they turned him into a freaking Super Saiyan, but both had blues, purples, and greens everywhere, both had similar robes and shaped hair, both had a lack of references for anything past their upper bodies, but I just assumed that it was normal robe stuff going on down there. Anyways, the point is, since both monsters look generally the same, the challenge wasn't really putting everything together as much as it was making everything interesting. First, I wanted to nail the vibe with the pose. I wanted them to sit in a deceiving and mischievous manner. Then I gave them this giant third eye and a clunky star necklace because I felt like exaggerating the accessories from both monsters would make the fusion more interesting. Drew out the robe a bit, defined the hair, and after a bit, I redid the design a little bit because I didn't like the shapes going on. Reestablishing the hair shape, making the robe puffier, even attaching some huge head feathers inspired by Witch of the Black Forest. And then I just liked the idea of giving the robe several eyes because both of the monsters that are used for this fusion have weird clothing eyes to some extent. And then I just fidgeted around with the robe trims, hair, pose, and line shape, and this is Queen of the Black Forest. I can imagine it having the same card stats as Musician King, but its attribute is dark instead of light. Next up is Cybersaurus, what you get when you mix Splash Juggler and Two-Headed King Rex. This is actually the fusion on the list that makes the most sense. Its attribute makes sense, its type makes sense, even its concept makes sense. But it's an entirely different dinosaur from King Rex, and where'd the second head go? Does this technically count as a decapitation? Meanwhile, if we're going with the idea of these fusion materials having hobbies, why is Splash Juggler packing heat? So I might have gotten a little annoyed with the line art process for this fusion specifically, and I may or may not have imported the line art to another Procreate project, and I may or may not have to lead the project with the line art time-lapse, so I apologize, but here's a still image. And to make it more ambiguous and attractive to look at, I will slowly rotate the image. The body is based on the roundness of Blast Juggler, and is stout and plump. And of course, I'm keeping the wings and the 2 heads of King Rex, while I keep the arms and hands of Blast Juggler. Then I probably started on the face, and I had this horrible idea where I was going to make the face dinosaur like King Rex, but it had the shape and horrifying dental work of Blast Juggler. I also added horns to the sides of the face because I thought it would be funny if it kind of looked like a beard, and I hate it so much. I added metal collars around the neck and the tail, honestly just making it feel more machine-like. I put the clock from Blast Juggler on its stomach. I would have made the necks and tails springs from Blast Juggler as well, but it felt a bit too disconnected. This is Blast Hydra. Again, it's the same type and attribute as Cyrosaurus, although through the design process, I imagine this monster being a dice monster because, I don't know, Blast Juggler kind of gives me that vibe and I like dice monsters, so it has a nondescript dice ability. The last of these monsters we're going to draw today is one of Joey Wheeler's iconic fusion monsters. No, the other one. I mean, yeah, that one too, but no, the other one. Gilsha the D-Knight. Wait, so is his last name Knight or is the whole thing a title? Well, apparently the D in his name means dark in English versions of the card, which, really? I mean, it wouldn't be the first time a Yu-Gi-Oh's monster's attributes didn't make any sense. This character is the fusion of Protector of the Throne, who has a mighty defense of 1500, which sounds like a lot, but it's Yu-Gi-Oh, so it really isn't. And Guardian of the Fortress, who really freaking needs a Snickers, GD. Like the other fusions, the only thing Gilsha inherited from the fusion materials is its type and its Why is it light? Why is it light? Why is it light? The other two are Earth. So you're telling me two Earth monsters make a light monster that has dark in his name? Yu-Gi-Oh! Why? You know what? Screw this. I'm going back to the drawing pad. I have a simple philosophy with this fusion. Red hair, fiery shield, more fiery hair, more shields. With the most chronic RBS you've ever seen. Although the face expression did get a little bit more mellowed over time. Again, I'm feeling out the stance, and after I felt confident, I started sketching out the two giant shields, fitting for Protector of the Throne's massive defense, and armor with spikes on it, simply fitting for Protector of the Throne's massive defense. Then I detailed the brims of the armor similar to the throne. You know, the throne with the Guardian. That has a massive defense. Can you tell I'm not over this defense thing? But yeah, just in general, I just tried to make everything a little bit sharper. Her clothes are a little bit tattered. Her hair is a little bit more wild and fiery. And of course, I kept in some cool stuff like the sharp teeth on the shields. And added more like tusks on like the armor just to give it more some variance and stuff like that. And fusion done. This is Queen of the Labyrinth. Same stats as Gilsha, but has a higher defense, and is an Earth Warrior monster rather than a Light Warrior monster. And ta-da! These are my 3 Yu-Gi-Oh! Fusions that actually make sense when considering the designs. Again, I'm not trying to make better fusions than the originals, but I'd still appreciate the feedback on what you guys think about the designs. And always, if you had a fun time with this experience, or appreciated some of the designs I made today, button. Also, sorry I couldn't say this sooner because I've been making myself busy recently, but thanks for the 500! You guys are freaking insane! I've been recently trying to react to as many comments that I can, but there's like 5 million of them. I mean, really like 500, but like 5 million of them, so it's like nearly impossible. But most of the comments are really nice, and I appreciate the support. Also, if by some miracle we close the gap on 1K by this video, I've been intently thinking of a surprise that might happen in the next following weeks. That would probably kill my sanity, but it would be totally worth it though. And on the note, see ya!